In the middle of fighting, something in me just snapped. And in my head, I'm like, All right, you know what? I'm going to go straight into it, and I'm going to tell you about my craziest fight that I ever had during my whole entire bid. This is the longest, most drowned-out one-on-one fight I ever had during my entire bid, and I won the fight, but still ended up getting cheated out by this Brooklyn dude who was ABG at the time. I leave 5 Main Northside for popping on the Trinitario dude who ran the building. After I leave the box, they take me to one lower. I get to one lower, there's this tall, 25-year-old looking ABG dude, right, from Brooklyn. Mind you, at the time, this is C74 adolescent size, so this is 16 to 18, and on your 19th birthday, they move you to the OTs, which is where they put the older dudes, right? So we all 16 to 18 years old. This dude look like he 37, and he's tall. He like 6'3", 6'4", built. He running the crib, but he running the crib also with this Spanish guy who was blood, who I ended up realizing was from Cortland, right? He was from Melrose Projects. Mind you, me and him, we looked vaguely familiar to each other, but we didn't personally know each other. But what I always liked about my whole entire bid was that anytime you run into anybody from Cortland, it's always immediate love, you know? Like, even if there was a difference between what I called Black Cortland and Spanish Cortland, because there's the black kids and the Spanish kids who chill with the black kids, or they might be half black, and then there's a whole other extra part of Cortland where it's Spanish people. The Spanish blood dude from Cortland, he just copped out to whatever bid he copped out to. He was leaving any day now. The Cortland dude was like, yo, he from Cortland. He good, he do whatever he want, which was something that I was gonna do anyway, because I had already been through the riffraff. I was already in 5 Main, getting smoked, getting beat up before they started letting me rock, and then I started getting my weight up in there. I went from getting jumped to now jumping people. I don't gotta run the whole thing. I don't gotta be the toughest guy. But however, I'm not sitting in the back, which is what we call the Iron Horse, aka the Dick. I'm not sitting in the back. I'm not even gonna sit in the front that much, even though the front is, you know, rocking spots with dudes on the team, and I'm gonna be standing up. You know what I'm saying? That was my mission. After 5 Main, and I really learned how this jail stuff go, right? Brooklyn dude, ABG dude, he had a problem with that. He used to give me like funny looks or whatever. But he ain't never say nothing because I guess for whatever reason, he was real cool with the Cortland Spanish blood cat or whatever. But mind you, this only lasted for about 3 days. This only lasted for about 3 days because after a couple days, randomly early in the morning, the Cortland dude ended up getting taken and he went upstate. So once he goes upstate, for about a week, I'm doing the same thing I've been doing, mostly standing up, doing whatever I want. Within that week, ABG guy, he goes to court, he cops out, so now he leaving any day now. Now, what the ABG cat would do was, he would test your gangster. He would really see if you're about who you say you are, right? So a new guy comes in. This guy was from Queens, right? The Queens guy, he's trying to stand up like me. Matter of fact, he's not even trying, he is standing up like me. So ABG tests his gangster. One day, he walking past him, ABG guy's on the phone. He like, yo, give me a phone call. The guy who was acting like he was gonna be standing up with me, he ended up giving ABG dude a phone call. So from that point on, after he gives the guy the phone call, the ABG dude says something to him. I guess it was something menacing. That same guy who's gonna act tough, who was acting tough, he comes in the day room, he immediately starts sitting in the back on the dick, on the Iron Horse or whatever. I'm like, oh, they got him. Now the next day, I'm in my cell, just finishing up being my meet or whatever. I get called to go to a visit, right? Mom dude's visiting me or whatever, dropping a little money on the nigga books and all that. So I'm walking up the hall. I get to the front. ABG guy on the phone again, always on the phone, right? He like, hey yo, Cortland, yo, give me a phone call, bro. I look at him. I'm like, I don't get phone calls, bro. And then I kept walking. I ain't even look back, but I hear him. He like, oh, word? We gonna see about that. Boom. I get back from the visit now. As I'm getting ready to hop in the shower, he already is like outside the shower, about to go in. He sees me. He like, yo, bro, let me holler at you in the shower. I already know what this situation is. I'm like, okay, this ain't my first rodeo. I step in the shower, you're gonna have somebody waiting. You're gonna have somebody like choke me or something, and y'all gonna try to jump me in the shower. I understand. So I tell him, I'm like, yo, I'm not going in the shower. You know what I'm saying? I go in the cell, I chill. I decide not to take a shower that night. Once that happens, I already know, I'm like, I might not be in this crib for too long. Clearly, I'm gonna have to fight somebody at least, or they're gonna try to jump me. It is what it is, you feel me? But at this time, I know what a real gangster Crip is, and I'm like, this Crip got a couple tough guys, but this Crip ain't as tough as 5 Main. It ain't got as many goons as 5 Main. They definitely ain't got goons like 1 Main. 3 Upper and 3 Main had the toughest goons, and after that, every other Crip, it was possible for you to be disruptive in. It was threats, but it wasn't, depending on who you were. At this point in my bid, I already analyzed it and I knew the situation. I'm like, I could probably take a couple of these dudes. I'm like, I probably can't take ABG because he wild big. If him and another person jump me, it ain't gonna work in my favor. But the fear factor gone. Once you get jumped a couple times and you get into enough situations, fear of getting jumped, it really doesn't faze you. Like, you really don't have that fear, right? I take a couple minutes in my cell. I do a couple push-ups or whatever, little light workout. I walk out now. Now, as I'm walking out, I walk past ABG dude again. He by somebody else's cell. Now, this was a Crip dude from Queens or whatever, who was like his closest homie or whatever. He in the cell. I walk past him. He like, oh, so you not with it? You not with it? You ain't trying to give up a phone call? You ain't trying to run the commissary? He like, you can't be in here not putting in no work. You think you wasn't gonna fight and you was gonna do whatever you wanted? He like, so fight my mans. Then. So I'm looking at dude. He had a little bit more weight on him than me because at the time I was on the skinnier side, right? I know y'all look at me now. I think I had this kind of weight on me when I was locked up. No, I got this weight from being home and eating a whole bunch of like fast food. And luckily genetics didn't make me look like, you know what I'm saying, shaped like a bowling ball or whatever. But I look at him, I'm like, I'm a little bit intimidated, but I think I could take him, right? But I wasn't sure. Mind you, this is already a guy who was known for having fights, beating niggas up. I know that I can't back down. This is the thing about being locked up. You cannot back down. I step in the cell. And this is the realest fight I ever had, where I really was in fight or flight mode, life or death mode. There was nobody to save me. All the other fights I've been in when I was free, these are situations where I'm in school or something, and you know that within a couple seconds, somebody gonna break it up. Or maybe you in the hood, and you know that at some point, somebody gonna break it up, right? This was real life or death situation, which is how I became a Super Saiyan. The first black Super Saiyan that ever existed. So the fight starts, right? It's me versus the Crip dude that was cool with ABG dude. ABG dude stood at like the entrance of the cell. He had the entrance of the cell, and he's overseeing the situation. And the rules of the fight was, the person who gives up loses. The first person who bleeds loses. Because you don't want somebody to be bleeding too much or have a busted nose or busted lip and continue to fight in case one of the captain, unless the captain pulls up. Because the captain pulls up and somebody looks like they were fighting, that blowback affects the officer who ran that shift, and then it will also force him to crack down on the people who he allowed to fight. Because we had the right CO. The right CO, he knew about the rules. He like, hey, y'all fighting, y'all gotta fight. Organize the crib the way you want. But whoever bleeds loses. I don't want to have to do no paperwork. I don't want to have to switch somebody. So anyways, we get to fighting. And I ain't gonna lie. Crip dude, he start powering me like, boop, boop, beep, beep, beep. Oh my God. I really understand that nobody's coming to help me on this fight. And it took me 17 years of my life to get to this point. The first time where I really felt like there's no escape. I have to win or I may die here, right? And mind you, this is a tiny cell. The size of a cell is this if you've never been locked up. Picture any bathroom. Picture any bathroom in any project building, right? And replace the tub with a cot. Point is, it's not a lot of space to move. So we starting to fight. He ping, pow, he bopping me in my shit. Hit me all in my face. Boop, boop, boop. Rib shot. Boop. He tearing me up, right? ABG is egging him on. He making fun of me. At some point, I start feeling some type of way because now he talking like his man's already beat me up and the fight is over. Crip dude looking in my face, he laughing, mind you, it's not like I wasn't getting no hits off, but I was missing. I was swinging wild. Like it was just looking bad for me. It was looking bad for me. For every one hit I was landing, he was beep, bop, boom, 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 like 4 or 5 times, right? So safe to say, if the fight ended right then and there, or if I started bleeding right then and there, lost, he washed me. But something in me became something else. And it was this night that I realized that I really had a lion inside of me. I really come from a race of warriors, African warriors in the jungle with the spears, hunting down 400-foot tall elephants, right? And I became the first black Super Saiyan. In the middle of fighting, something in me just snapped. And in my head, I'm like, right? And somehow, some way, I just started punching faster. And it seemed like I was adapting and learning his moves while we fighting. So I just started getting more and more technical. So my punches started catching up with him, right? Bing, bing, bing. For every blow he was hitting, I was hitting a blow. Bing, 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 bing. Bing. I started reading his moves. Boop, 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 boop. Do it all. Now I started ping, pounding, boop, boop, beep, bop, booping his shit. So now it's evenly matched, evenly matched, evenly matched. Now I start edging them, right? This is like a brawl. These are 2 kids fighting, giving it their all. I don't know, man. I was so exhausted, but kept going. This fight might have been 5 minutes long, straight. Mind you, ain't no one inside the cell rooting for me. ABG guys rooting for his man. I ain't gonna lie, even though it was extremely violent, as a young man at the time, reflecting back on it, something about it was beautiful. It was like, it was art to it. Like it was like music. It was a rhythm. Like, we getting it. Like, I'm missing some punches. He missing some punches. We both not trained. Like, it's like Goku versus Perfect Cell at the start of the Cell game. I was becoming more of a man through suffering and through pain. And unless you've been in these kind of fights, you really won't understand what I'm saying. But I know somebody understands what I'm saying. I was a Super Saiyan. I never in my life thought that I could fight like this. I'm somebody who grew up pretending to be tough. I actually realized that I was really like that while I was locked up, that there was something in me, that I wasn't just a bully acting tough. But when my life was on the line, or when I felt my life was on the line, or when I felt like my dignity was on the line, that I'm not a tough guy. I'm like that in the way of, when I say I'm like that, it's like, I'm like that in the sense of, I'm a man and I know how to protect myself and I stand on principle. And this is where I got cheated by a Brooklyn nigga, ABG, right? So now, me and Queens dude, we going blow for blow, right? We hitting each other in the face. And it's amazing how we was punching each other in the face so many times, but nobody bled up to this point, right? Because all it took, remember the rules, all it took was somebody to bleed and then they lost. In the middle of it, he punches me twice in the face, right? Bing, bing. As he continues to punch, I duck. I catch him in the ribs. Bing! Hit him in the ribs again on the other side. Bing, right? Mind you, this is the first time I even ducked the entire fight. This is to let you know that I'm really not trained. Like, I ducked. That was the first time. Some told me just duck. So boom. Rib. Then I come up. I hit him in the face. Right hook. Boom. Hit him in the face with the left hook. Boom. His cheekbone started bleeding right there. Start gushing. ABG dude, he like, oh, Queens dude, like, what? What happened? Then I tell him, I'm like, yo, you bleeding. I'm like, it's a wrap. I won. I beat you up. It's over. Mind you, I'm exhausted. I tries to leave the cell. They was not trying to let me leave the cell. ABG pushes me back into the cell, and I turn around and face Queens dude again. He like, nah, y'all still gotta fight. Queens dude living. He mad or whatever, right? So now, I get ready to throw my hands again. I'm like, all right, I guess we still gotta fight. Boom. ABG dude puts me in we call it the chicken wing, but really it's a full Nelson. Matter of fact, no. I turn and I'm trying to argue with ABG. Queens dude puts me in a full Nelson now. Sore loser, right? Puts me in full Nelson. He leans back on the bed, locks my leg in. ABG dude, he like, oh, you thought you wasn't gonna be with it? Ain't no fair ones in here. He started pounding me, right? Whoa, pause. I said pounding me. Pause. He wasn't pounding. He started pounding on my chest with his fist on like some King Kong type shit, right? Boom, 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 boom. He punched me in my face. Boop. I'm like, yo, hey, yo, y'all cheating. Yo, y'all cheating. Y'all cheating. All right, copy. All right, right? They start spanking me, and after a couple seconds of that, it felt like forever, but it was only a couple seconds. Then I hear, hey, yo, that's enough. What the fuck is going on in here, yo? It happens to be the CO. Come to find out, ABG, he told the CO what was about to go down. The CO knew what was going on. He also knew the rules, too. So when he came and he stopped the situation, he looked at the Crip dude. He seen his face was leaking blood. He like, yo, that nigga bleeding. He lost. Y'all not respecting the rules in here? Don't make me have to fuck one of y'all little niggas up. This is over. Hey, yo, what's your name? He looked at me, right? I'm like, yo, Peterson. He like, yo, Peterson, you good, man. Get out of here. I leave. As I'm leaving my cell, he like, yo, leave that little nigga alone now, man. He won fair and square, man. Ain't you leaving anyway? My name start buzzing around the crib a little bit. Boom. I retain my right to be tough in the crib. I'm feeling myself now. But I'm like, yo, I became somebody who I never thought I was. Now I'm just laying back in my cell for that night in a whole lot of pain. But I'm like, I survived that. Now I really don't fear nothing going on in this jail. And for the rest of my bid, this is when I started becoming less of a bully, even though I still participate in things here and there. But I became less of a bully and more just about survival and maintaining my respect. I realized that trying to be tough mattered nothing at all because I proved to myself that I really am tough. And to top it all off, the very next morning, ABG ends up going up north. And I turned to a Super Saiyan. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Watch these